Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Rebecca Grace Vijay, the founder and CEO of Fount of Grace Creatives. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Fired Up Round 2 Author Meet and Greet. So, you all know that Fired Up series is about women changemakers from around the world who are sharing their inspiring stories. In the second volume, we have women sharing about how they have gone through difficult times and have not given up, how they have thrived and have overcome health challenges, personal challenges, etc. Today we have Laura Phillips. She's a certified trainer, speaker, and coach. She has worked in customer service for 28 years. Welcome, Laura. So great to have you with us today.
Thank you. I'm so honored to be here.
Thank you. So, would you like to share a bit about yourself, your story, and your journey so far?
So I'm a mom. I worked in customer service for American Airlines for over 20 years, and I went through a certified training class and became a speaker, trainer, and coach. And I have clients that I work with on a weekly basis. I do life coaching. I do health coaching. So I'm busy.
Yeah. Hey, Wendy. Good morning to you as well.
Hi, Wendy.
Uh, yeah. So that's great to know about you, Laura. Like I mentioned in this book, we are sharing a slice of our lives where uh, we've not let difficult situations keep us down. So,
Yeah.
can you share about that part of your life which has been difficult, but you have still strived and now are thriving?
Thank you. Yeah, I went through a difficult time. I lifted it all started with lifting a bag at our ticket counter. And it was before we had the machines where you weigh the bags. Like now they bring the bags up and you could look down and see what it weighs. This was before that. So I went to go and lift a 92-pound bag, and just lifting, you know, if you lift things, you have to lift a certain way with a certain amount of weight and stuff. And I immediately like went to the floor, and I pulled my lower back out. And so I was doing therapy, and I had a doctor at the time that decided he wanted to do nerve blocks. And I went in for just a general nerve blocks. I was on my last one. It was I got a set of three. They were done every 3 weeks apart. And I went in this time, and he wanted to do it a little differently how he had done it in the past. And I came out of it, and I remember that day. It sticks in my mind. I almost did not go to that appointment. I was busy that day. I had run around. I'd worked that morning. I had two jobs. It was just kind of like a crazy day. And it was like it was a Friday, and I thought it's been such a long week. I thought, maybe I'll just go the following week. And uh, I always think about that. I had my hand on the phone. We used to have the phones on the wall. This is so I had my hand on the wall phone, and something just like stopped me. My husband now, who was my fiance then, he walked in the door, and I looked at him, and he was like, "You ready to go?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." I figured, well, he drove home from work, and I hate to have him come all the way there. And my dad had just come over to watch my son, so I thought, well, I might as well just go. So I went, and when I came out of it, because they give you something to kind of put you under, I um, I was with the nurse, and she came over, and I remember she had a cup with the straw, and she went to give me a few sips, and I took the sips, and I was fine. And she said, "Do you want me to go and get your fiance?" And I said, "Sure." Um, and then I had bangs like I do now. I have side swipe bangs, and I went to go and move my bangs. like just kind of get them out of my head, my face. And I couldn't move. I, I, I could not move. And it was the strangest thing. And my fiance at the time, my husband, walked in the room and he saw my face, and I must have had like a look on my face, and he said, what's the matter? And I said, I don't know. And he said, well, what do you mean? I said, I can't move. And he said, what do you mean you can't move? And I said, I'm telling you, I can't move. And so he went to go and grab my hand, and it just flopped. I mean, it just flopped. And he looked at me and he's like, looked at the nurse, and the nurse was in the room at the time, and she walked over. She said, well, explain to me, what do you mean you can't move? I said, I can't. And then I realized I couldn't move anything. Like, I went to go move my legs. I went to go move my toes. Nothing was moving. So it just turned into this whole process. And originally they thought that I had that the spinal block that they gave me, the nerve block, shot up my spinal cord. And what it created was like a paralyzing effect. And it would take they said a good 8 to 12 hours to wear off. So they were going to admit me into the hospital, and they were just going to monitor me, and just you know go about that way. And I can tell you that if they would have done that, I would not be sitting with you here today. I would probably be like a Christopher Reeves. I would be completely paralyzed, not able to move, mobile at all. But there was a doctor that came in, and he went to check me, and he just thought it was very strange. He looked at my file. My profile was in good shape. I was healthy. I walked in. I remember running up the stairs to that appointment, and he'd gone to dinner with his wife, and he was a little puzzled, and his wife must have noticed. And she said, what's going on with you? You seem a little, a little puzzled. And he said, well, actually, he said, I am. He said, there's this, I think I may have been like 35 at the time. He said, there's this, 35-year-old woman, good health, good shape. And, she came in today for a nerve block. He said, and, she can't move now. And the wife was like, well, what did you order? What kind of a test did you order? Did you order something, to look and see if something was wrong? And at that moment, he was like, no. He's like, you know what? I didn't. And she's like, and his wife was like, being a woman, thinking, as a healthy woman, whatever, women's intuition. She was like, well, isn't there something you can look at, to see if maybe something more is going on? And he said, you know what? You're right. And he excused himself from their dinner and walked outside and called the hospital and ordered an MRI. And the surgeon that did my surgery, that came in at 3 a.m. to do my surgery, saved my life. Because what they had found out was I had fluid that shot up my neck and collapsed my cervical, like in my neck. I had to have a plate put in, and it was my vertebrae were severing my spinal cord. And so he was hoping that he had gotten in there in time, once he lifted, he had lifted the vertebrae off of my spinal cord and inserted a plate. He had hoped that I would, be able to walk and stuff. So I went through a very difficult time for several years. It took several years to get back to myself. And, within that time, I was hospitalized for over 5 weeks. I had my son was only 6 years old at the time. It was just a very, very hard time. I had my wedding planned. The night before this, my husband and I went town to the place we were having our wedding. We had a food tasting. My invitations were to be mailed out like that weekend, and everything had to be put on hold. I couldn't work. I couldn't hold a fork. I couldn't get out of bed. I was, I had to use a wheelchair. I was learning how to walk. I was learning how to write. I was learning how to hold a fork. It was extremely difficult. But I was very determined. I was very determined to get my life back. I didn't give up on myself. I had doctors that were like, you know what, well, you will never run, you'll never jog, you'll maybe be able to walk short distances at some point, but your life is never going to be what it was before. I had several doctors tell me that, and no, that wasn't going to be me. So I worked extremely hard. I had really good therapists. I did water therapy, I did occupational therapy, physical therapy, and I worked really hard every day. And I'm happy to say that about 2.5 years later, I was able to walk down the aisle without a cane. I'd gone from a wheelchair to a walker to a 4-prong cane to a straight cane, to walking down the aisle, to marry my husband with my son walking right next to me. So, I the thing that I get out of this that I would share with someone is don't give up on yourself. Like, never give up on yourself. Never let someone tell you what your future is going to be, because we can create our future. We can create what we want in our life if we try really hard. Now, obviously, there's some things that you can't, but if it is in within your capability to do so, I suggest to do so. Definitely.
Absolutely. It must have been uh, a very difficult journey, those 2.5 years before you
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
walk down the aisle, but then you
Yeah.
were determined and
Yeah.
strong
And I was able to
that,
go back to my job. Yeah, I was able to go back to my job. No one thought I would be able to go back to my job ever. Like, I mean, even my employer at the time, they kind of wanted to buy me out of, my job because, liability, I'm sure liability issues and stuff. But I went in front of a judge and I said, no, I want my job. I worked very hard and I want to go back to work. Um, and I had a really nice judge and he was like, I don't get a lot of people that are being told they can go on disability and be paid off and go away quietly, actually do that. He said, people do that all the time. He says, not very often that people are fighting to keep their job. So I went back and I have been back ever since. And then about a year ago, I was having some problems, and I realized like I was kind of dropping things, and things were just a little off. And here I had started developing where my plate was starting to slip, and I had more of my vertebrae going down that were starting to go downward, and it wasn't good. So I had to have surgery again all over. And it wasn't as bad, but I did need some assistance for a while. I was home for 8 weeks after my surgery, after being in the hospital. That was only a short visit. I think it was like 3 days in the hospital. And I came home. I had a cane, but I said, okay, I'm going to do this. I did it before. I knew I was a lot older. It was going to be a little harder, maybe. But I've worked for the last year, and I'm happy to say I literally just went back to my job again at the airline, like 4 weeks ago. So and just I just know that you know difficulties come in people's lives and stuff, and a lot of times we give up. We let people tell us don't you don't have to go back to your job, just pick something else to do, or do whatever. And all I can say is that if you want something in your life and someone's telling you can't have it, but you have that feeling, that gut feeling that you can do it and you can have it in your life, I'm here to tell you, living proof, go for it. Go for it.
yeah, you'll get all sorts of advice, do something less strenuous or change of career, change of
Sure.
pace.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Oh, I got the change of career thing very often, even from family members. But I love my job. I love what I do. I love help. I love taking care of people. People, whether people realize it or not, if you're not a traveler, you might not realize it. But if you are a traveler, people are very vulnerable when they come to the airport. They're getting on a plane. They're going for job interviews. They're going. they're going for cancer treatments. They're going across the country to see family they haven't seen in years. And people come to the airport, first time travelers. They're very vulnerable. And I love being that point of contact, and taking care of them. So that's important to me. Same way I take care of my clients that I coach. I have different clients that come to me with, some clients are, right now they're in health mode. They really want to get healthy. Summer's here. They want to stay healthy, eat healthy, hydrate. And then I have clients that have gone through different things like fibromyalgia and just going through personal struggles with divorce and things like that. And I love being able to help and guide people and to show them that they are worth they are worth it for themselves to have a happy life.
Yeah. So, like, what would you call your dream clients, and how do you help them in their journey?
My dream client is someone that is feeling lost and is at a point where they just feel like, um, you know, they don't deserve what they want in their lives. Because that's a dream client for me, because I will show them that they are, and I will work with them to set their goals, to whether it's just baby steps at first, whether it's journaling every day, writing 3 things down you're grateful for. If it's getting up in the morning and doing a meditation and deep breathing, doing mantras, standing in front of the mirror and telling yourself, I love myself, I am worthy. Uh, and being able to get people out of a funk, that they are in for whatever reason. To be able to see them cocoon out into like what they want to create in their life is, to me, that's a dream client. That be able to help someone turn their life around when they think that there's no other direction.
Great. And where can people find you?
Well, I have a website, and we can post it later, on here. We're kind of rebuilding it right now. And I have a podcast. I do a podcast. It's called, Your Opportunity Unlimited. It's sponsored on Anchor. It's on, Apple as well. And that's what I talk about. I talk about people's opportunities and how never let an opportunity go by. It's important for people to know that, no matter what's going on in their life, somebody else has gone through this. Like, people have gone through different things, and they're not alone. And even though sometimes people might feel like I'm the only person in the world that's going through this, they're not.
Absolutely. So, how has your experience been with the Fired Up 2 collaboration, and what is the message that you want to give
Oh,
out?
this is such an amazing opportunity. First let me say, Rebecca, you are amazing. Like, you are so
Thank you.
helpful. You are so helpful. And I am not the most savvy person when it comes to technology, which I know you know. And you have been so gentle and kind with me. What I would tell anybody that wants to collaborate, that has a vision of writing a book, they need to contact you, because I've always dreamt of doing this. And when you were brought into my path, from Wendy Bjork, um, I felt like it was, divine timing. It was like I've always knew the message I wanted to get out and share my story. But writing it and editing it and doing all of those things, putting together the roadmap and stuff, that was, to me, it was like that was the part that I couldn't get. And that's what you offer. You offered the step by step things for me to do, that I still struggle with and you help me with. So, it's been such a great experience. And there's such a lovely group of ladies. Like, the Fired Up group of ladies, I found amazing. And then these women with Font of Grace are just so inspiring. Like, the stories that I've heard and listened to on the calls, and I'm not always able to be on the calls live, and it's so nice to be able to go back and put my headphones in at night and listen to these women. And it's so amazing. So I think that people are going to be so inspired with this book because, we've just come out of, just coming out of, and, coming out of the whole COVID thing, and people being like, stuck and feeling overwhelmed and having fears of going out in public and being around people again. And, you have this going on, and it's just, it shows you that there's light at the end of the tunnel. And these women's stories are amazing, just amazing.
Absolutely. And it's like really impactful, inspiring stories. And we're just looking forward to the release next month.
I can't wait. Yeah, I hope. Yeah, I can't. I just am. I'm so in awe of being a part of this, with these amazing women. I know one, Vanessa. They're gonna read her story, uh, she's just, she's very special to me. So I know that, just like with, Wendy's story, like, both of those gals I knew prior, but there's other women that I feel like I know just because I've been on these calls and I've heard their stories. And this will not disappoint anyone. I think this is going to definitely be a bestseller because anybody, man, woman, youth, adult, whomever, can get something out of one of these stories, if not all.
Absolutely. Uh, what would you, advise people who are uh, maybe wanting to share their story? It could be like a Facebook post or a blog
Hmm.
post or, maybe a podcast, but they're hesitant about what
Yeah.
people will say, and,
Yeah.
especially friends, family.
Hmm.
What would you tell them?
Well, I did my podcast. I had like 4 episodes before I ever even let my husband listen. So, you know what I mean? Like, I was just like, no, this is my thing. Like, I don't want, I didn't, it was the people that I didn't know, I was fine with them listening. But you're right. Like, you come into women or, men, you think, oh boy, I'm going to be judged, or somebody's going to look at me a certain way, or people are going to be insulted. Like, maybe they have a problem with something, like, even like growing up, like a childhood or something, like somebody that goes through a struggle with like siblings or something, and then the sister reads the book or listens to the podcast and says, well, why would you say that, or whatever. I think everybody needs to understand that speaking your truth and being honest for yourself and what's right for you is so inspiring, and it's so invigorating. Like, it just brings out something, and I share a lot of things in my podcast, that I don't even share with my friends, so I think somebody that wants to get something out and wants to post something or start a podcast or start a blog or start a book with you, um, it's doable, it's possible. And if you want to do it, you should do it. Absolutely do it. That's what I would tell somebody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's such a boundaryless world, and you have
Hmm.
people, in your situation anywhere and everywhere. So your story might be the one that brings them out of
Yeah.
that dark place and
Hmm.
gives them that hope, that inspiration, that there is
Yeah.
someone who has come out of that. Been in the
Yes.
same boat, has come out of that,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah,
Someone, anyone. It could be someone's forced out of a job. It could be somebody that's lost a job. Somebody that, lost their home. Someone that is going through divorce. Someone that's going through, MS, or whatever it might be, cancer. Just whatever it might be, or it just might be somebody that just hasn't found their passion yet. That's just like going to work every day, and maybe they have children and taking care of the kids and taking care of the husband, taking care of everybody, and then they sit back and they're like, what do I want? Like, what inspires me? And I think that's what happened with me. I got to a point where it was like, I knew I always had this underlying feeling that I really want to help people. And so when I took the course, for coaching and speaking, I loved it. Like, it was long, and it was not easy at times. and I was working and I was doing the schooling and all the lessons and stuff, but I felt inspired to do it because I knew that it was something that I really wanted, yeah, was it going to be hard? Sure, but I've done hard things before, so yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Laura, for sharing all of that, taking the time out, and being with us here on this author meet and greet.
Yes.
What is your one you know one sentence, one pearl of wisdom that you want to share, especially with those who are going through health challenges?
Okay. Never give up on yourself. Um, don't always believe the doctor if they're telling you something in your gut you don't feel is right. Get second opinions. Work hard. Don't give up. And I think the one sentence I would say would be to believe in yourself. And and um, if you're taking the detour, because that's the name of my story, the detour. If you have a detour in your life, let it be just that, a detour. Don't let it stop you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Laura, and
Absolutely.
thank you all for joining us. And we hope you had a great time listening to Laura and her inspiring story. You can read about it next month in Fire Up Volume 2. Thank you for joining us. Bye
Thank you.
bye.